any disaster this country's ever seen. What advice would you give to federal authorities in airspace management in that regard?
Well, the last national level exercise about the New Madrid fault revealed a lot of things that brought a lot of concerns to a lot of people. First of all, I think airspace management is a no-brainer now. Knowing what I know from Haiti and the oil spill, that ought to be on somebody's checklist early on, even if you don't think it is. And it was a problem in New Orleans. We had military C-130s, Air Force Coast Guard orbiting around, trying to coordinate what was going on under VFR conditions. Well, we probably should have put an AWACS plane up right away and take control of airspace and let the Air Force do it out of Tyndall. So I think it always ought to happen early on. Okay. I think in the New Madrid fault situation, you're getting into a much larger, more complex issue, and I'm glad you brought it up. We need to think about complexity intersecting with complexity. We had that happen in Japan. You can plan for a tsunami, you can plan for an earthquake. If you plan for a tsunami, earthquake, and a nuclear meltdown, maybe yes, maybe no, pretty damn complicated. The interaction of the electrical grid, the critical infrastructures that are managed in a different part of Homeland Security, the National Protection Directorate, interplay with this. I don't think we've done enough planning in the country and what FEMA's responsible and what happens when you invoke the Stafford Act. Then you have a complete different set of things going on over here, say with a utility company that's regulated either by the state or the federal government. That's some of those same type of things they have to deal with that BP did in the oil spill. Now, how do you create unity of effort? And the killer is if we had a loss of electrical power or a physical disaster that was precipitated by a cyber attack on our remote controls for our industrial controls. It's going to get real complicated regarding jurisdiction, what kind of resources can be brought to bear, and what are the legal authorities. Because what you're going to have is the FBI is probably going to be looking simultaneously to see if it's a cyber crime. There may be a Stafford Act declaration on what happened as a result of continuous days without power. You may have a regulatory process and a legal process about whether the companies are compliant or not and can't order them. One of the real problems in Japan was they did not have the equivalent of a responsible party. They could not legally order under threat of civil or criminal penalties the companies to do anything. All I could say is, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing it? And there was no way for them to actually enforce that. Well, I just explained something that was really, really complicated, but it underscores what I said about trying to think differently and train leaders differently. Because we're going to have intersections of complexity that we haven't seen before. New Madrid fault would precipitate that, in my view.